Hey guys, my name is Matimio, and today I went back and played some Battlefield Bad Company 2 Vietnam. A lot of you wanted to see some gameplay for this, and while it was a little difficult to find a server because during prime time, at least on PC, there was only like one or two that even had players in it, but once I was able to finally jump into a match, the nostalgic factor was through the roof, and that's because, at least for me, DICE outdid themselves with this expansion pack, and that's for a lot of reasons. They gave you 5 maps, 2 of them being some of my favorite, that is Phu Bai Valley and Operation Hastings. Phenomenal maps, very well designed. They have new weapons and vehicles based on the time period. They also had an outstanding soundtrack. It was always a joy to switch between maps, even just to launch the game, to listen to the background music. They also kept the same class structure, so there was still the engineer, assaults, recon, and support, but they kind of switched it up slightly with some slight variations. So the sniper, for example, didn't have the recon balls or the motion balls like they did have in the original game, but that's because, well, it fit the time period, because in Vietnam they wouldn't have something like that. But probably the greatest aspect of it is that while it still felt like Bad Company, it still felt like the original game, it was different enough in the theme, in the class structure, and just the small things that they kind of tweaked and changed that it kept the freshness of the game longer. Like, I kept going back to Vietnam because it felt like its own game, but it still felt like Bad Company. And the real kicker is that it only cost $15 at release, at least if memory serves, and that's comparable to any of the expansion packs for Battlefield 3 by themselves. And you could argue that if you got the premium service, that would be bumped down to, I believe, 10, so yeah, 5 for $10 each, which is great. And don't get me wrong, I absolutely love all of the Battlefield 3 expansion packs, but Vietnam just feels like it's a tier above. And what I'm kind of hoping for in Battlefield 4 is that they kind of have a return to form and try to do something like that again. Like, how cool would it be if they did a theme, like a World War II theme with the Frostbite 3 engine at their disposal, destruction flying all over the place, but new weapons, new vehicles based on that time period? That would be pretty phenomenal, and I personally would be a happy camper. But I'd like to know what you guys think. Is this something that you would be interested in for Battlefield 4? Let me know. Let me know down below in the comment section, because I'm curious. If you can't tell already, I loved Vietnam. I thought it was amazing, and I would love for them to do something like this in the upcoming game. But as for the gameplay itself, I was using the M40 sniper rifle. This thing was a beast back in the day, like borderline overpowered. And while there were some things to kind of counterbalance it, like its one-shot killing potential was way higher than anything that we have in Battlefield 3, and even higher than the original game. And that's mainly due because the rate of fire is slower with this weapon, so it does take longer for you to get a shot off. But if you were sneaky and you kind of moved around the map and took people by surprise, as you guys will see, like, I was taking out squads all by myself, and yeah, you can't really do that in the current game, where you have to be very, very lucky and very, very skilled. But it's always fun going back and using this weapon. I mean, it did have its downsides. Like I said, it did have a slower rate of fire. It only had 5 rounds in the magazine, so you had to make sure that all of your shots counted, and everyone else hit just as hard. Like, if you got caught out by someone who was using an engineer weapon or an assault rifle, they're gonna drop you extremely fast. I mean, I felt like the damage model was just higher in that game, but I still remember back when I played this, as long as you were on and you were on fire, like, nothing could touch you when you were using this gun. Like, you were a one-man army. And while I loved it, I do remember some people were crying foul and saying that this gun was a little bit overpowered. But that is about it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed the Bad Company 2 Vietnam sniper action in the background. Always a blast to go back and play this game. But until tomorrow, guys, have a good one and take it easy.